This genuinely is a pleasure because I've worked with this guy for 30 years odd. Murray Dumas, homegrown product as in UK, played the game, coached on both sides of the ball, special teams, head coach of the London Olympians at present. I first met him when he was head coach of Invicta Eagles, and we've become really, really good friends. So I'm really looking forward to more brothers than friends, if we can go that far. So I'm really looking forward to Murray giving his presentation on O-line. So I'll stop now and I will hand it over to Murray. Murray, I'm going to make you host. If you want to say a couple of words, you can, or prepare yourself.
Yep. No, thanks, Coach.
You're the host now.
Yep. Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming on tonight to listen in to another clinic that we're putting on. I'd like to say at the moment, I just would like to say thank you to STK and Hope International for their support and encouragement to do this, especially my brother from another mother, who I'd like to say thank you, deep thank you to you, my brother, and happy birthday. So happy birthday, Coach Rick. I hope you've had a great day. I know you've had a great day, so I hope it's all good. Well, I'm going to start sharing. So a little bit about my background, guys. Been involved in the sport since December 1981. Started as an O-line and D-line player. Eventually worked my way through to linebacker. I started coaching as a player coach in 1990, and then eventually turned full-time coach in 96 when I stopped playing. I became, 2023, I became head coach for the second time. And currently I'm head coach, OC and O-line coach at the London Olympians. So long time around the sport. This is going to do this to me. Right, let's do it this way. So I always have several objectives in a season. I'm sure most of you do, that you want to get it out to the players. I've got a couple here that wanted to share with you and also go over tonight within what we're going to talk about. So I'd like to develop a strong understanding of the hand strike and the hand placement. I want to help our O-line gain stronger understanding around bringing their bodies into the block by moving their feet. And I want to build a solid foundation in their technique with simplicity and connectivity, creating fun for them and confidence in their game. So I'll build a lesson list. A lot of this that I've got here, I've had for some time. Some of it is new to me. We've been developing it over quite a long period. Things that I find very, very important and things I believe in. Some of these we started 5 years ago when we came back to, myself and Coach Rick came back to the Olympians, and we started developing this for the O-line. Others here have been added as I've studied and learned different elements and some new techniques in the game, and we're building a process for the guys to develop themselves and work at a higher level. So staying square, foot firing, playing long, shuffling, matching, gallop, the high leg, low leg in a double team, hammer, which we use in a double team, racing, rooting, talking, Ewing, the pillar punch, arrows, unders, stuffing, skipping, angle A, B, and see in the pass pro. These are all things that we teach. And at the moment, this is my lesson lists for this year. These are techniques that are interchangeable and have a fluidity of use that I like. And it works with our foundations that we teach early on around their stances and so on. And it really helps the guys feel confident and have more fun in practice and games. And they have an excitement around what they're going to learn next. So we're really, really pleased with this. So where do I start? I want to start with developing the proper strike for the guys. And I really, really like this traffic light visual. The guys enjoy it as well because it helps them understand a little bit more of what we're trying to aim at. And going through, I'd like to go through it with you, if you don't mind, and just show you what we tell them, how we develop this into their strike. So first off, the red is having our hands up here. For most players that we see, most players in the UK anyway that I've seen, big, small, whatever size they may be, they come out and they tend to want to hit this way. And that gives them a small problem in that once you get pressure here, it tends to be a weak way of blocking. Okay. And the reasons that we go down that is that if you look down the line, the elbow's pointing out. Once we get pressure here, with the elbow pointing out, we're going to end up in a bench press style of blocking, which is not what we really want. We're not strong enough in doing that. Some big men against little men can do this, but as soon as you're up against someone matching you, as soon as you're up against someone that is as strong as you or slightly stronger than you, maybe even bigger than you, this becomes a problem. So we try and get them to avoid this as much as possible. So then we look at the amber and having our thumbs up. And again, you'll notice that the elbow is pointing out and down. So any pressure on me, if I've got a bigger man, any pressure on me is going to force this down. And no matter how tight I get here to try and squeeze it, that's going to be forced down and away from me. So I end up again bench pressing the guy in trying to block him. So we want to go to the green and have our thumb out. And if you notice, if I go from there to there, you can see the elbow now is starting to point down and towards me. And as this is being forced back, I can squeeze into my chest and the body will, the elbow will come into me and then the body will take the pressure. This is where we really want to be. This gives us a major opportunity to keep the block and fight through the block. So this is why I really like this. This is what we go through with the players early days. And we feel that it really helps them understand what we're trying to get to. The other thing I like to give to the guys is this hand placement drawing. Now you can number it any way you like. I mean, this is just how I like it. We have 1 and 2s, which in the States are bicep clamps, which we can't use here. So we use them as clubs, open-handed clubs to the bicep to try and drive a guy back in that's slipping away from us. So we will use that to bring him in. 3 and 4 are the pillar punches, which we like to, again, thumb out, make that hit and drive up. 5 and 6, these are vices in here on your neck, and we can't, again, there's something we don't use over here. We'll get flagged for that over here, but we talk about it. We make them understand what they are, and we make them understand what they're used for. And then 7 and 8 are unders for us. People, you can change up with that. We utilize arrows and unders, but a lot of people call them lifts. So here's the all of the write up for those things. So 1 and 2 equals clamps, bicep grabs, or clubs for us. 3 and 4 are the pillars, the breast strikes. 5 and 6, things that we definitely can't get into, which are the tight neck cloth grabs. And 7 and 8, the lifts and unders. Now we teach them as singles, and we teach them as combinations, and we practice as much as possible in single and combination strikes. But we do that through all the different movements that we do, and all the different types of techniques that we're trying to utilize that you saw a little earlier. So we will use them with up kicking, with shuffling, matching, jump setting, and everything we do, we tell the guys there's no setting soft here. This is being aggressive. This is all about us taking control of the D line and us being in charge of what goes on and how we're going to get the blocks done. So if we put early days, guys, what we tend to do is we send the guys out these in the number formats so that they can start working them on their own. And we utilize this with a dash or no dash. So if it's with a dash, it's a combination block. So you can see there 8 and 3. So it's an outside pillar and an inside lift combination. Or if we put the two together, so a 78 is a double under. So we're coming up underneath with both hands. So it just gets their mind into stuff and starts allowing them to understand how they put their hands, where they're going to put their hands, what we're trying to achieve with our blocking. And then we start to teach that alongside with all the other movements that we do, to get the block working. So once we've done that pre-season, we've talked to the guys, and we're coming together, we want to start them learning how to move their feet. And we like foot fire as part of our language. It kind of gives them everything that tells them everything about what we're trying to achieve. This particular drill is a foot fire rhythm drill, a demeanor drill, you may know it as, or well, whatever you call it yourselves. There's lots of people do this type of drill or do drills very similar. But for us, we call it a rhythm drill because it starts the offensive line going. We do this at every single practice, and we try and make sure that they build from this into all the drills, their foot fire working. So to start them off, we get them to line up with their feet slightly turned out and slightly outside their shoulder width. We get them into a good 2-point stance, so they've got good posture, knees are inside, pressures over the instep, hands inside, elbows tight, head up. And then we create a slow, steady rhythm with the guys, and then we move them back, forth, sideways, whatever angles we need to do. And we get them to work their feet quickly and with small steps, so that they start the process of learning how to stay in a good stance and keep their bodies with their feet. So what I've got here is a little bit of film. The top left is early days with us, and you'll see there here they go with their foot fire, and they're moving left, going back, moving right, coming forward. And this is all early days. You can see the pad levels a bit high. Hands are not inside. They're not utilizing their hands to move with their bodies. The bottom left, a little bit better in their foot movement. They're still not using their hands a lot to get around. Pad levels still a little bit high, but it's a continual process that we're trying to do with them. The third one, the middle one, you'll see a better pad level, more hand movement, better feet, and that's more recent for us. So it's a lovely build up all the way through, and you get the guys into a really, really good situation. So that is our rhythm drill, and that's a drill we will do every practice. Okay, so it's every single practice. Doesn't matter what we're doing. We even in a game day situation, we get everybody in going with the rhythm drill. So I've mentioned foot fire. It is the basis to all our foot, our movements. Everybody understands, it says chopping of your feet fast and low. We have created from our rhythm drill, we lead them into what we call the foot fire drill. And unfortunately, this wouldn't work for me earlier. It's gone in a different direction with how I wanted it to work for you. So top left is how we were doing this last year, and then we're going to jump to how we're doing it right now, and then it's going back and forth, unfortunately, with this one. So big bend at the top there, hands inside, good rhythm. We weren't too concerned about our pad levels, but we were working through getting that nice rhythm in there, but leading forward to today's style and work. We want to make sure our processes work through with a good hand movement to bring us through and utilize our whole body as we're propelling ourselves forward. So at the top here on the right, we've got Sasha, our new center, and he's working his hands and working through. Good pad level there, and good feet. You notice there a lot of movement with the feet as fast as they can go, but keeping a good football stance all the way through. There's George working his way through, and then he brings his hands at the end. So it's a very, again, this is really important for us. We want to teach the guys how to, their striking, but how to move as well. And what we want them to do is bring their bodies into the block. We found that doing the rhythm drill and then the foot fire drill starts to get the mind working and starts to get that process. And so every single practice we're working that and building that and developing that. I mean, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, I think, with the amount of hours we get, but we are definitely, developing a really good process that helps them. So I put a little bit of film in of us last year. I've slowed it all down so you can see the feet. We're actually in a pass pro set here. We were in the game, and you will see across the bowl, everybody's moving their feet. I mean, we're not perfect, that's for sure, but we are moving our feet slightly higher than we want to be, slightly not, moving too far backwards, not being aggressive and staying on the line of scrimmage. But the foot fire is the real deal here. I mean, they're a constant movement, constantly looking, and that's what we were trying to hope to gain with doing these drills. And so it's really built us a great process to continue to work through. The other thing that I like to tell the guys is stay square. I have a real passion around that we stay square as long as possible. And everything we do, we want to keep our shoulders at the same point as the line of scrimmage. Because what we see is, what I've seen for such a long time with players, is that they tend to want to attack someone at this angle, you know, whether if they're going right, they want to attack over here against the three tech, and they're only using part of their body. And so what ends up happening is they turn their shoulders to actually get to the player, and they're opening the door. They're allowing the player to get into the gap, and then they usually get beat. So what we've come into is stay square. Stay square as much as possible. Foot fire, work your way into the block, bring your body into the block, and attack the guy with all your body, and not allow them to have that gap, that movement. So staying square tends to change their mentality in the game. Keeps them working to bring their whole body into the block, and it really has been a game changer for our O-line. Their complete mentality now is more aggressive, and they love to work this stuff. So a couple of little couple pieces of clips here. Two at the top are our foot fire drills that stay in square, working our way up to a second level player, and then shuffling across to the player to make the block. So in the first one we've got George, and he's going to work up to his right as the camera moves. He's going to move across to make that block. Again, you see the foot fire in there, using your hands to keep the pad level low, which is something we've noticed. The more we move our body with our hands and feet, our pad levels tend to stay a lot lower. And then the next clip, he works it to the other side. Again, moving those feet, lovely small steps, keeping ourselves working through and staying square to the line of scrimmage. The bottom two are pass protections, and we've used them with staying square again, foot fire, shuffling into position. But what we tell the guys, and what we continue to tell the guys, is that do not turn your shoulders, do not open your hips until you're fully engaged. So if I touch the guy, that doesn't make me fully engaged. It's when that I feel that pressure, that I feel fully engaged, and now I'm going to open up to you, and I'll use my hands in different ways in order to drive you out. The first one we're going to have a look at is the bottom left, and this is Big Dean. He's going to work his foot fire, and he's going to work what we call angle A. So he's going to shuffle into a position to match the defender. So he's covering the defender and force the defender to make a decision of what he's going to do. His first step's a little bit large for me, and it causes him to drop his shoulder and his head, but he recovers really well. He swipes the defender's hands off the first connection of his hands, gets rid of them. Then he gets his hands back onto him with a good pillar punch, and then he drives him upfield. You see there, he gets nice work. Doesn't open his shoulders until he's in that contact, and then he's driving him, and we keep the QB safe. On the second one, so the bottom right, we got George. George's got a tendency, his knee points out, but all his power is on the instep, which is where we really want it. And obviously, you know, your body does all sorts of things. So we don't complain too much. We don't try and work that. we try and get him to concentrate on keeping his hips square until the last moment. He does a real good job here. The defender he's up against has got longer arms and a much longer reach than George has, but he does a great job in getting a pillar punch to him, staying square with him, shuffling over, pillar punch, and then as the pressure comes through, he opens his hip and he drives his backside hand into the side of the defender and drives him away. This is a really good show of how to do this. But he's staying square until the last minute and then driving through. So staying square for us is really important. Foot fire is really important, and things that we feel that helps the players build a much more confident way of playing and working. The other thing I mentioned a moment ago was shuffle. Now, we all know what shuffle is for most people, is dragging your feet along. But what we use the word shuffle for with our guys is in order to try and slow them down, make them understand, the foot fire is really important, and moving laterally is what we're doing with our shuffle. So we want to get across nice and steady, make sure that we're in good football position before we get any contact. So it's something that when we started talking about shuffle, that the guys have taken on board. A lot of the times it was big steps to try and get out there and reach that 3 tech or the 1 tech. And now they're starting to be patient. They're bringing their feet and their body, everything's coming across into the block. So shuffle is part of again, what we are teaching in order to develop their ideas and movement. Match is another thing, and if you notice, I've spoken about match, I spoke about shuffle, I spoke about staying square. All these things, foot fire, staying square, shuffling, and now match, they all are connected. We utilize these all the way through and create the connections for the players so that they have a complete global view of what they're doing and how it's being processed and being built. So we all know that matching something, we tend to be corresponding or pause the correspondence for essential respect. But what do we use it for? Well, we're calling match our cover block. So what we're doing, we're asking the guys to shuffle into position where their play side knee is inside the defender's play side knee, and therefore our body is right in front of them. We can then utilize our pillar punches, our unders. We can, if the guy is working away from us, we can club him and bring him back inside. But it creates a point for us where the defender now has got a lot more work to do. He has to go across our body or over our body rather than just getting into a gap and only having one part, maybe our arm or our shoulder to deal with. So now it creates a completely different aspect. And it also makes us a bit more aggressive when we're in the block. So got a couple of clips I'm going to show you of our shuffle match. And in the top left clip, you'll see George shuffle across. He gets his legs slightly further than I would like, but nothing's perfect in our world. But it's a continuous process to try and get better. But once he gets into the right position, he'll strike. And on the top one, he strikes with a pillar punch and drives through. I think with his backside hand, he brings that up also to a pillar, and then we're trying to get long at the end of it. Really good work with George. He works really hard on this, and there he goes, and then gets long at the end. So it's that process that we've been going through. Foot fire, we're shuffling, we're trying to match the player in front of us, and then we're striking. Obviously, we've got a player here standing still, but this is early days for us in our process, so that we build it so that they're not getting beat every time. We're gaining the confidence. We're building that confidence, because like most of you, we're not getting a lot of time. We're getting maybe 45 minutes a week with the guys in individuals. So it really is a great process that gets them to where we're looking for. So in the bottom right, again, we're going to do he's going to foot fire shuffle. He's going to make a right-handed pillar punch, but then he's going to bring his left hand under and try and lift the guy and talk him. You see, good foot fire, drive through, and then he tries to talk him back the other way. So this is a great build up for us. Really, really enjoy the way that we put this together through the off season and then into the pre-season, and then still working it through the season. Every single week we try and do something where we get one or more of these type drills in. The first two drills that we showed you tonight, they are always in, and then we try and build through into the others. So a big thing for O-line is pressure to pressure. Now, I heard this expression quite a few years back when LeCharles Bentley came over to the UK, and I really liked the way it was put and how it gave me a visual and you know, about the blocking and how it was to be used to help the O-line understand how the block develops and why sometimes we don't have ourselves in the correct position and what we need to do about it. So we've built this into our processes, and we've built this into our language. So like most of you, we don't have a lot of money. It's an amateur sport, so we are limited to the equipment that we own and we can use. We've only got a few hand shields, and we don't have a sled. So to help develop the guys, what we did is we said, right, we're not going to look to try and get all that stuff. Let's just use each other and understand how the P2P or the pressure to pressure builds when you're actually working with another body, because bodies move differently. You know, different size bodies work, you know, have put more pressure on, so that we understand that we only ever work with each other, and we only ever work against each other. So what we do with our stuff, and this what we're going to show you now, is a part of the process that we do from pre-season, with where we're putting our hands and how we're building the block through. So we put it into different phases. This phase you're going to see on the top left is our what we call the fit. So we've already said you've done your foot fire shuffle, you've matched them, and you're getting into position. And what we have them do is we have them bring their elbows inside, they put their thumbs out, get their hands on the body, just underneath the pad level. And then we get the defender, the other guy, to lean on them and put pressure on them. And then what we're asking them to do is move that body forward 5 yards, staying in good football position, and driving forward, and just pushing forward to get them moving. Just in that. That's what we're asking for with them. I mean, a few of them get a little excited and do more than they have to do. Always the seniors want to do all the stuff that they've done the year before, or whatever it is. But in general, that this is what we're trying to do. So in the top clip, you'll see the guys set themselves up. They're in this position, and then they're going to just move the player back 5 yards. And then when they stop, we instead of turning it around that way, we just swap players. The player that has been pushed becomes the O lineman, and the player that was the O lineman becomes the D lineman, and they go back 5 yards. And we repeat and we repeat and we repeat, just getting used to that feel of how it works. So you'll see here, the guys start to drive. They're just pushing the guy back, just keeping their hands in there, come up a little bit high at the end there, which we're trying to not do too early. But it really is a nice one because of the feel of a player and how it moves, the body moves around. And it really gives them a greater aspect to what's going on. The bottom right-hand corner, we've got the second part to that, which is what we call the drive. And we call it drive because what we say to the guys is once you've got your fit, you start to move the body, and then you want to drive your hands through your eyes and get the pad level to move up. So we're asking them to move their hands upwards and drive that body up while they're moving it. The words drive your hands through your eyes kind of helps the guys understand they're not coming up with their pad level. They can keep their pad level there. They're moving their arms. So it really gives a good indication of what they need to do. And if you watch the pad level in a second, it will go up. There it is. And then they keep driving. And what they're looking for is as the pad level goes up, how the reaction is from the D lineman. Is it left or right? And then he'll try and get long with a one-armed position on him to keep the drive going. Then we come to our final stage where we try and put everything together. So I've not shown everything tonight. Obviously, there's not enough time to show it all, but this is so you've seen two parts of the stage, and this is all of it together. So we're shuffle, match, fit, drive, finish. And with the guys you're going to see here, they're working on the torque finish. So what they're trying to do is that they'll bring their hips in and drive up through the pillar with their hips and actually look to throw the guy on the floor. Boom, and then drive. Again, it takes lots and lots of work. We do that, the other guys then do it coming back, then we go back and we go, it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, as much as we can do within time limits that we have. And the guys are really, really enjoying the build up for this. So what I've got is a couple of pieces of film to finish off, just to show what we do, what we've done against other teams. And this is a pass set. In this one, we were playing cheaters in a scrimmage. And what we have here is we have 75 really, really good footwork here. Stay square for quite a long time until in full contact. Don't like where his hands are in this, but he does a decent job. He gets himself set up in a way to stop the defender. 78 makes a small mistake, allows the defender inside, but on doing that, his foot fire is good. He gets back into position, and then once the contact's there, turns the hips and drives the defender out the way. 53, when you look at this, though they're staying square and they're doing a decent job, he turns a little bit too quick to stay square long enough for me, because he's got help inside there. And 76, he has good foot fire, stays square, but he needs to be aware more of what's going on around him. The only one that really struggled with this in this play was 61. He got a little static and got himself moved, and that allowed the door to open up inside for the defender. And this is one we talk about fair deal, and get the players to understand why we want to keep moving our feet. So their defense had a good, nice shift there, and we see we're moving about. But for generally, we're nice and square. We've got good foot fire, and we give the QB time to move. And then the final one here is a run play against the same team. In this, you'll see quite a few different elements. So we had a double team from left guard and the center, and a double team going on with our right tackle and tight end. The right guard thought he was getting double team, and he went into a cover step before he realized it wasn't going to happen. Left guard does a great cover step, comes up with a low leg for the center's high leg. The center gets nice match, keep foot fire. They're all staying square, and then we push the center off onto the linebacker. We make a nice gap for the running back, and we're out of there. But quite a few different elements all put in here, all different. They're all working through, but generally staying square help them get into a good position. So that's the end of the slides and the talk. So I guess we'll take a couple of questions there, if you've got any. When you send that hand placement combo chart to work on their own, do you ask that they film themselves and send it back to you? Yeah, I do, Coach. We ask them to film everything, outside of what we do, and we like to do a review. I have an O-line meeting generally once a week, and we review everything, go over the stuff with them. Whenever I can, I'll meet up with them as well. But yeah, we do a lot of film work with them. Thanks for that, Coach. That was a good question. No more questions? Okay, I'm going to hand back over to you, Rick, or would you like to take it back?
I've got it, Murray. I think there's another question there for you. Can you explain Ewing? Ewing.
That's when we're turning. We get a player that is really working us hard, and he's trying to get across into the play itself, but we get our hands up in here where we're starting to force the side to the play side, and we get our butts around and we turn him completely around, and we create a U shape with him. So that's our what we call Ewing.
There's a question also from Coach Laird. Coach Pete, why don't you jump in? Open up your mic and jump in and ask the question.
Thanks, Coach. Sorry, apologies. I was on the phone, so it's really difficult to do. Yeah. So, Coach Murray, thank you very much. It's been brilliant. As with all UK coaches, we often struggle with attendance with offensive line players, and I'm looking for some advice around low attendance numbers, how to increase maybe offensive line group unity, maybe increasing their workload when you might have an indie section of about 15-20 minutes, and you've got 3 kitty players, 2 injured, 1 watching. You know the drill. Yeah.
Look, we've had that this year. You could see in one of the videos we only had 3 guys at practice. There's not a lot we can really do, but continually try and keep that connection with them. So we try and film everything that we're doing. We break it down. We talk to them about what we've been trying to achieve, and we work through those drills. So everything that we would have been doing with a full set of players, we'll do with 3. Everything we would have been doing with a full set of players, I'll do with 1. And so that once he's got it, and we've got a WhatsApp group that they all in on and talking, he's saying, well, this is what you've missed, fellas. You've got to be on the meeting because we filmed that and we're going to talk about that and how we need to make the next step. So for us, it's all been about just creating the process. So the beginning, when myself and Coach Rick came back into the Olympians, we wanted to create a 5-year plan with a process that would start to develop and work all the way through, and then give them a slingshot to go and work even higher level or better. It's really worked for these guys. The little pieces that I've given you tonight have been huge for them mentally, and so it's an excitement about playing the game, and they all want to turn up. Then they're all calling each other and saying, "Are you there this week?" And it just changes their mindset.
Coach Murray, I hope you don't mind me adding to this, but Coach Pete, one of the things that Murray hasn't mentioned, and I think it's important that he does, that perhaps he doesn't even notice himself, is he has one-on-one conversations with these guys live every opportunity he gets. And I've seen the benefits of that, is that there's a communication going on, as well as the digital stuff that goes on. Having those one-on-one conversations and emphasizing how important it is to be part of that unit, especially the O-line unit, because you don't have O-line or D-line, you're not going to win too many games. So there has been this thing that I have noticed more and more, is that one-on-one communication with the players, almost challenging them on how do you want to get better, what is it that you're willing to commit to, giving them ownership of that, and then getting the other players to join in. So I think that's an important part. Of course, you're always going to get excuses, of why, but it's got better. You build it layer by layer by layer by layer, and don't get worn down by them. Sorry, is there any more questions?
The other thing, Pete, is we try and do at least once a month is get together and eat, as a group. So we've got a pancake club. All the guys, we all go out for pancakes. So it just creates that camaraderie.
Excellent.
Any more questions, guys? Please feel free. We've got a couple of minutes before the next speaker. Gary, do you want to go live, or do you want me to talk it through?
I better say it live because I'm dyslexic and I misspelt it. I feel that honesty with the players is important to communicate with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't like to lie to them. I don't like to make it soft in that way. I like to tell them the truth. I like to break it down with, obviously, you want to be complimentary when you're talking to the guys as much as you can, because you want to build their confidence. But at the same time, we want that honesty between us. So I asked them the question, how they feel about what they've just done. We've got film. You've just watched your piece of film. how well do you feel that you did that drill, and is there anything else that we can do better? So we gain the honesty between us that way.
Do you feel that then creates inclusivity and builds the team, sort of the offensive line together, because they then end up helping each other?
Yeah, I think it does, because when they see one person answer a question like that, and they come out and they show their the frailties and in what they're doing, people then want to join together a bit more and look after each other a bit more. Becomes a real brotherhood, and our O-line have really become a brotherhood. They really look after each other, and now they're starting to expand that. They're looking after the running backs, they're looking after the wide receivers, and as always, they look after the cubes. But these guys really mean it. They are really showing a lot of empathy towards their other players.
Oh, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it wasn't so much a question. It was more replying to Gary, saying that what I do with my line is I'll tell them what they do well, but tell them what they need to work on. So give them, as you said, give them a positive before giving them a negative. And then after every game, after all the footage is released and everything, I'll just send them out a quick feedback form and say, look, how do you think you performed? What do you think you need to work better on? And, what do you need more coaching on? And it just helps them understand, and see what they need more coaching on. And it helps me learn and know, again, what they need more coaching on and what they feel less confident in.
That's a good one, Coach.
That's a great point there. When you just said, Coach, it helps me learn. Our players end up teaching us. That's such a great point.
There's a good point.
Any more questions? Right. Coach Murray, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I want to say some other things, but I'm going to be professional. You're muted, which is great. Okay, guys. Murray, if you want to have a last couple of words, please.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Share the Knowledge, and thank you, Hope International, for inviting me to do this. I really do hope you guys got something out of it. I know it may have sounded a bit rushed. First time I've done this in this format before. Done things with sitting in front of players, coaches, and so on, but normally it's not as formal as this. Enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it. And thank you.